In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a modern website. Following these videos will guarantee a UX-friendly and well-designed website, which will give you high conversion rates for your goals. So keep watching and let's jump in. Okay, so I already created a screen here, which I called Wireframe. Basically, a wireframe is a technique to just scribble down your idea of how a website will look like. So you don't go much into details, you just position the elements, get an idea, define where the main call to action should be, the most important interactions, and so on, to get an idea how this website will look like. Before you create a wireframe, you also should ask yourself, what is the goal of my website? Do you want the user to fill out a form? Should he click on a link to get to another page? Or should he buy a product? You need to know that. And a wireframe is then a good tool to scribble down your page, to really focus on the most important thing, which would be, for example, in my case, I use an example here to create a freelancer page. So basically it will be some kind of a portfolio for a freelancer. And here the most important thing would be that the user or the visitor of the page will fill out the form to contact that freelancer. Yeah, I think just let's get started. So I created here this frame, which I'm using Figma here. You can create like frames for specific sizes, predefined sizes. I just chose the desktop version here. And then I'm using a 12 columns grid where each column is 70 pixels wide. And I centered this grid so that after this width here, no matter how wide the screen will get, the website will be in this maximum width of those columns here. So I do this to basically not destroy the design of the website. So basically, if you have a navigation, I see this sometimes, that people position their logo maybe on the top left and the navigation on the top right, and on big screens, yeah, the logo and the navigation are so far away from each other that it's not a real great experience for the user. So I like to keep them like in a maximum width, which we defined here now. And yeah, so the first element which we need is basically, which every website has, and this is a navigation. I make this 100 pixels height, and then make the filling transparent and add a stroke here. So as said, a wireframe is just a scribble of the website, so you don't have to be careful about does that look good now or not. It just should give you an idea of which element is where. I also recommend to name your elements right away, otherwise you will have a hard time to find them later on. If everything is named rectangle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you try to find your navigation, you need hours. So take the 2 seconds and name your elements right away. Then I'm thinking of having a logo, maybe a round one, maybe something else later, which is around, let's say, 65 pixels. We can actually lock it here, and position that to the left, and always think of white space, so don't make it too large like this one, and position it like that, because this could look like that. There's too less space later on with in the navigation, as long as we'll have a border or something. Make it more small, leave enough white space, and play with it. White space is a very good design element you should use. Then we will have here a title. Wireframes can basically get more into detail, so you could type in here text and be more specific if you already know and be very sure that this should be in here. Or maybe your customer says like, yeah, we have this logo and this should be always in the top left corner. Then you can also place that in your wireframe already, but it's not really needed. Text is also often displayed like this, that you just have an empty box here, and the hierarchy of the text, or the priority more, is defined by the color. So the darker it gets, the more important it is, and the lighter it gets, the less important the text is. So we will just take the standard background color as the most important, or let's say the most important element for now. And then that's our title, and that's the logo. And then we copy the title over here, have it maybe a little bit less, copy that one, and alright, so this can be either links later on, or social icons, or maybe both. Let's see where this will this get. So basically important is I really don't have an idea, so I didn't make any pre-concept of it. I just came up with the idea, alright, let's make a freelancer design here and just get started. And so you know how I would create this, I would create it. So maybe this is not perfect, but if you have like suggestions how to improve it, or if you think like, oh yeah, Stefan, there's something wrong here, let me know in the comments below. Nobody is perfect, right? Yeah, so basically what I always recognize is, like, if you have, for example, a round image here, or circle, then actually let's make this 70 pixel. This bugs me that it doesn't fit perfectly into the cell. Yeah, so maybe you can see it. You have the feeling that this is a little bit off, because the edge is like disappearing here to the other side. And what I always like to do is to just give this a little bit of a correction towards the bottom, so that your eye thinks, ah, yeah, that's correctly in the middle. So we don't have to do this now for the wireframe, but later on the website with the text, you probably see what I mean. If you create a wireframe for a customer, then of course your customer probably doesn't know what this should mean here. So I recommend to create arrows. Just place it like this, that you basically describe your wireframe, that the customer or whoever will watch it knows what's going on. All right. I have the idea of that this area is filled with an image, like a background image, completely. So this is basically the starting screen for the user. And I want to have this filled until the maximum of, let's say, I don't know, 1000 pixels of height. And then it reaches the maximum and it will just stay like that. So if someone has a desktop with a height of 1500 pixels, then you just have 500 pixels from the other content. But I guess that's fine. So this would be an image, background, illustration, and here we are. Important to know here where to place your main heading and so on. So the eye movement in Western countries at least, since we are reading from the left to the right, is also in the same direction. So your eyes starting at the top left corner, moving to the right top corner, then they going down to the bottom left corner, and then to the right bottom corner. And eye will stay here for a while, then it moves like this, and then it will also stay a little bit here like that. You can influence that movement with your illustration or with other elements. So if you want to move the eye from here to directly here, then you can position an illustration which the eye wants to scan, and stick it out more, and then you could move the eye from here directly to the bottom. But this would also require that this space here is basically dead for your site, and this doesn't really play well for the look and feel of the site. So anyway, we are creating here a top heading. This should be really big. So that's the main header, our main claim text for the potential customer. And then at the bottom we have some subheading, which is not that important, but it should be anyway in here. So this would be basically our benefit, and this is how we would or what we offer in the to solve the benefit. So in the previous example, it would be I create great experiences by creating websites and apps or whatever. And then we want to have this followed by a CTA button, which is basically the most important thing here. So we want users to click this. And now, as said, like the eye movement is going like this and like that. In this case, since we don't have anything here, the eye movement would go like this, and like that. So our background image ideally has some illustration on it to support the eye movement to the CTA. And we can do this by adding an illustration for this background image. Also important to consider is that it's considered positive if the movement of the background image is like this. So from the top left corner to the top right corner, it's considered to something positive because it's going up. So for example, a chart in the stock market, this is a positive effect, so we want that. While if it goes the other direction, like this, it's considered negative. So we want an illustration which goes like this for two reasons. We want to create this positive effect for the user, but we also want to catch the eye in here from this position and bring it back to the CTA. So our illustration should be something maybe like this. I mean, this could be any kind of illustration later on, but it's just an example, something like this. Yeah, and then also what I want to mention, if you create wireframes, please don't forget the mobile view of your website. I often see that websites are still designed for the desktop use, but too less for the mobile use. And fact is that Google has the approach of mobile first. So it first looks at the mobile design of a site and then considers the desktop design. Or if your website isn't mobile friendly, Google will rank you lower. So Google is mobile first and then everything second. And you could even design your website first on mobile and then think of how it could look like on desktop. That would be the ideal case. Yeah, so these are basically wireframes. The important thing here is don't be too specific, but specific enough. Try to basically nail down the most important thing of your website and basically design your website or the user experience to fulfill this goal. Don't let your design or user experience also suffer from it. So of course you could also have like big blinking arrows to a button so that people click on that, but nobody will like it, and so this shouldn't be also the goal here. Maybe if you're not sure on how you want to create this page, create a wireframe, put it away for 2 or 3 days, have a look at it again and see if you still like it, or if you can still identify with it. If that's not the case, create another one. Yeah, so in the next video we will go into more detail and actually design this layout. We just came up with the wireframe here, so we will bring this wireframe into shape, into an actual website design. So I hope you like this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any improvements for that design, and I will implement those improvements into it. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and see you in the next one.